Yo. There's some more face. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Can everyone see and hear me decently? Don't really have anything planned for today. Just kind of gonna hang out for a little bit. Just trying to get back into the habit of streaming. Let me know if the music is too loud or distracting or anything like that. I think I found the correct volume when I listen back to other streams. I think it sounds right, but every now and then I get people saying that the music is distracting or too loud. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, what's up, everybody? It is a little bit later in the day than I would normally stream. It's like 8 p.m. where I'm at right now. I usually stream earlier in the day, but didn't really get around to it. But I haven't streamed in a while, so I thought I'd do a little evening stream. Probably will only stream for a couple hours or so. What's up, Rachel? What's up, Loud Buttons? What's up, Erica? What's up, Sharon? Do I follow basketball at all? I'm from San Francisco, so I'm super stoked about the Warriors win. I have not. I didn't follow at all this past season. My like, I enjoy basketball. I like NBA. And I used to be a really big NBA guy. Like, I watched all that shit. But just over time, I just kind of fell off and just stopped paying attention. I think really what happened is I stopped kind of watching TV. Like, once I kind of got out on my own, I no longer like paid for TV, so I didn't really watch anything that came on TV, and that includes sports. I know you can get like sports packages online now, and maybe I will at some point, but yeah, I haven't followed it. Usually I'm like vaguely aware of what's going on, but this past season I did not follow it at all. But I was aware that the Warriors won the championship, which is like, I guess that team is good because they've won a lot of championships in recent years. I would like to get back into it though, because I actually genuinely do like watching basketball. It's just a lot to keep up with. If I had like a group of friends to watch with, then I'd probably be more likely to watch it, because I watch college football, and the main reason I do that is because I have a group of friends that I always watch with. How's my day been? My day was pretty good. It's been kind of a procrastination day because I do have chores and work to do. But I haven't done any of it yet. So kind of procrastinating. I decided I'd stream because streaming is like kind of like work, but mostly it's just me chilling. But it kind of makes me feel like I'm doing something productive. What's my favorite kind of milkshake? I kind of think that milkshakes are overrated. They're like too expensive usually, and they're not. I feel like they're not that good. Like, they're fine, but whenever I buy a milkshake, I'm like, man, I could have spent this money on something better. But I mean, you know, I'm good with just a straight up vanilla milkshake. I feel like vanilla has been, you know, vanilla is, everyone calls it like the basic flavor. Even the word vanilla is used to describe someone very basic. But vanilla is really good. Like, I feel like people need to stop hating on vanilla. It's a very good flavor. Past 2 years, I've mostly watched YouTube and a few apps, never live TV anymore. Yeah, exactly. I just watch YouTube. I barely even watch like Netflix and movies and shit. I just watch YouTube all the time. The only media that I really religiously watch is Marvel stuff, because I'm just hooked on MCU stuff. So I watch all that stuff. Speaking of, I forgot to watch the last episode of Miss Marvel, so no spoilers. I need to watch it. But I sit and watch YouTube all day long. That's the main thing I watch. What's up, Wrinkly Dingus? Nice name. I ain't had the right kind of milkshake. I mean, that's very possible. I usually don't order them anymore. Every now and then I'll have like a taste for something like that, and then I order one and I'm like, like, I'd rather just eat some ice cream than just have a milkshake. Or I'd rather, you know, get like I don't know, like a milkshake is this weird crossover between a beverage and a dessert. And it's like, if I want a beverage, there are better beverages, and if I want a dessert, there are better desserts. I don't know. There's a lot of talk about divestment on Twitter. I don't know what that means. I'm out of the loop. I feel that entertainment has degraded so much of our attention spans. Like, everything's packaged in the short form commodities rather than for its own value. I mean, I would say that's true to an extent, for sure. It's probably the most complex of the standard flavors. Yeah, I would say vanilla is a pretty complex flavor. Or it's as like, I think vanilla is a more complex flavor than, or like, if you had like a vanilla ice cream versus a chocolate ice cream, to me the vanilla has a more complex flavor. I know there's all kinds of different types of chocolate and stuff like that, so maybe that's not the best example, but still. So you don't live near a cookout? I don't know. I don't think we have cookout here. Wait, we do have it. What the fuck? I literally have never heard of this place. It looks like it's in the suburbs. Like, it's only... Well, no, because there's one... Yeah, I've never even seen a cookout. It's not near my... It's not in my neighborhood, but there's several that are not too far away. Interesting. Also, milkshakes, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just haven't had the best milkshakes. I haven't really gone out of my way to, you know, taste a lot of different ones. And they sometimes like give me a headache. Sometimes they're just like way too, like too much. Like I feel like gross after I drink a milkshake. But I'm old, so that may just be that. The Joker sequel will be a musical. Thoughts? I mean, that's fine. I guess we gotta see what it's like. It's kind of funny how at one point we live in this world that is definitely far better than what the world used to be, and yet it's so bad, and I think people don't understand that. I think part of it, we have capacity for things to be so much better, whereas the capacity for things to be so much better was significantly smaller than it is today. Yeah, well, I mean, I think sometimes people think of life as this kind of progression of people solving problems slowly over time, but as time goes on, not only are we solving problems, but we're creating new problems. So it just kind of depends on what perspective you're looking from in terms of better, you know, in terms of describing what's better. You know, there's sort of like these fundamental things that it seems like most people agree are like the main things, you know, like being alive, being healthy, being safe, you know, things like that. And by that measure, it seems, you know, things are a lot better for most people. You know, people live longer, people are generally healthier than they were hundreds and hundreds of years ago. People are generally safer, you know, in general. Maybe, you know, obviously not everyone is healthy and safe, but it's, you know, comparatively. But at the same time, we're creating new problems, you know. Social media generation is, you know, a lot of the problems are avoidable, but we may not be paying as much attention to them because we just, either because we've gotten so comfortable or because we just don't know until we see the outcome. Like, I don't think anyone really understood like the impact of social media when they were making it, you know, but we've seen a lot of the negative aspects of social media and how even though it connects us all together, it also is kind of a very alienating experience. Well, I don't think I have a milk allergy. Your boy, thank you for the $5 super chat. So I see a lot of well-meaning left content creators, mostly white cis dudes like me, but younger. How do we stress to them read a book? Well, I mean, I guess it just, you know, that's very kind of a broad thing. Depends on the context, because I mean, there's a lot of people who are fine. I don't know, my personal thing, and I think maybe a lot of people disagree with this, but I don't worry about what other people are doing, really. Like, I try to put good ideas out into the world, and after that, it's up to y'all what you do with that knowledge. I'm not gonna be checking up on you to see if you're, you know, if you're taking my advice or if you're being a good person or if you're educating yourself. That's not my job to watch you and keep up with you. I'm not worried about what y'all are doing or what anyone else is doing. So I don't, if they want to read a book, they can. And if they don't, then they don't have to. That's not really my problem. My goal is just to put ideas out into the world. And I think that just naturally, or at least I hope, I don't know for sure, but I hope that by naturally spreading good ideas, that some of those ideas will catch on, or at least it will start a conversation and get people thinking. But it doesn't seem like everyone thinks that way. It seems like a lot of people are fixated on trying to specifically change people's minds or change people's behavior. And I don't know. I just don't feel like that's my job. But thank you for the super chat. Best you can do is do you and do your best. Yeah, pretty much. It's just, I mean, I think it's a recipe for a very sad and frustrating life if you're going around worrying about what other people are doing all the time. Like, I think as a matter, like, you may have a criticism of someone, and I think it's fair to express that criticism. But as long as you understand that that's probably not going to result in them changing their behavior, or at least as long as you're okay with that being an outcome. But if you want to spread criticism, you want to discuss it with people, that's fine. That, all that's fine. But I get a lot of questions that are like, how can I fix this person? Or how can I change this person's mind? And I just don't think, A, I don't think that's your job. And B, it's unlikely to impossible for you to do that. It's not, I guess it's not impossible, but it's unlikely. Do you ever feel burdened by being considered a content creator whose opinions may be taken as fact? I mean, I definitely think about that for sure. And I constantly stress, I've stressed many times on streams and on videos that I think of myself as just another voice in the conversation. I just happen to have a bit of a platform, but I think everyone's opinions are valid, and my goal is mainly to get people thinking and start discussions, not really to tell everyone that they should think the way I think. But I believe in the stuff I say, at least at the time that I say it, I do, and it would be fine with me if my arguments convince people. So don't get me wrong about that. But I'm definitely not the expert on pretty much anything, and it is a mistake to consider me an expert on anything. But I think it's fine if I say something and you think it's compelling. That's fine. That happens to me all the time. I watch people, I understand that they're not an expert, but they make a compelling argument, and it makes me think. Sometimes it even changes my mind. In terms of engaging with topics before understanding what they're talking about to a lot of young ones and pretending to be experts. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Again, the main thing that I can do at least is try to put ideas that I think are good out there. But you know, not everybody agrees that my ideas are good. So that's why, you know, it takes all sorts. I mean, I think like if there's a content creator or even just a person that says something that's just wrong, like factually wrong, I think it's fair to point it out, you know, you don't have to be a dick about it, but like, you know, someone says something, you can be like, hey, that's not right. Here's my source. That's fine. Depending on the person, I don't know, different people are different. Some people might double down and, you know, come up with their own defense, or some people might be like, oh, I didn't know that, I was wrong. Or some people might, you know, give more context and be like, oh, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. So you never know how people are going to react, but I think it's fine to do that. I have right-wing relatives. I got tired of debating them. I still counter opinions online, and that's it. Yeah, I don't like this. This might be surprising to people, but I don't really like having political debates, because most people aren't interested in, you know, like good faith argumentation. The main thing I would try to do is if someone just says something that's factually not true, and you can easily prove that it's not true, I mean, that's kind of as far as I would go. But when it comes to like opinions and stuff, it's like, it is really hard to argue someone out of their opinion. Like, it is really, really hard to do that. What's up, Auntie's Buster? Debates don't work. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very, 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 very hard to debate someone out of their opinion. I think discussions, good faith and discussions between people who disagree can be interesting, as long as people are coming with good faith and actually interested in learning about the other side's position. I think that can be interesting and maybe even productive. I also think, I'm kind of on the fence, but I think that public debate can be useful. I don't think it's useful for changing the minds of the debaters, but it can be useful for changing the minds of an audience that's watching, which, you know, depending on what their minds are being changed of, can be a good thing. I think that's one of the reasons why a certain segment of the population or a certain segment of public figures are really all about public debates, because they know that it is very good at spreading ideas. Do you think it's smart for people to use their whole real name on YouTube asking for a friend? It's probably not that big of a deal, because if someone like really wanted to find out your name, they could probably do it pretty easily. If you're on the internet, if you have social media and things like that, people can just, you know, reverse search you until they find it. But also, there's not a whole lot people can do with just your name. Now, there are reasons why you might want to be completely anonymous, for sure. but I don't think it's like necessary. It's not like absolutely necessary, but there's no, you know, if you want to do that, I think that's fine. Feels like I haven't heard you mention Heiko for a while. Is it just me? I haven't like gone into detail with it, but I've said stay Heiko at the end of like my last 3 videos. But I haven't like talked about it in depth in a while. Yeah. Debate cereal with water or cereal with milk. Well, I have never had cereal with water, but that doesn't sound good. I have heard that people do eat cereal with water. I've heard that that's a thing. But I eat cereal with vanilla almond milk. It makes everything taste good. And it's much, well, I don't know. I don't drink like regular cow milk anymore because it's like, well, mainly because I've been trying to lower calories and milk just has very high calories. Well, I mean, I figured that you were talking about yourself, but I also thought that it was a legitimate question. Thank you for the feedback. It's to me more unhealthy that the drive to be right versus to understand has become commonplace online and in real life. I agree 100%. That's something I had to learn myself as well. Like, I think it's okay to want to be right as long as it's a kind of a productive, earnest search for truth rather than the insistence that you are right, you know, to the exclusion of any other arguments that you may hear. Like, wanting to be right should involve you wanting to hear opposing arguments and wanting to and being willing to change your mind so that you'll be right in the end because someone, you know, countered your argument. Yeah, when you start adding like your birth date, that's, you know, your birth date is a very, again, it's a thing that most people can probably find pretty easily on the internet, but a lot of things are tied to your birth date. So when you start to associate your name with your birth date, that can start getting into sketchy territory. It's still probably not that big a deal, but the thing about it is, really, when it comes to like internet security, we're all just on the honor system. Anybody that really, really wants to can fairly easily find out anything they want to about you. And they could probably do it for free just using Google. But even with outside of that, you know, there's a lot of resources that people can find. So we're kind of all in the honor system. I think the thing is, most people don't feel like doing that. But I mean, I'm sure almost everyone here probably has had one of their passwords get leaked in one of these like massive hackings. You know, all the information's out there. If people really want it, they can find it. Honest, assertive, kind, open-minded. That is how it goes, and I still stand by it. I don't even like cereal with milk. I like mine dry by itself. Cereal by itself, like it's chips. That strongly depends on the cereal. Like Frosted Flakes by itself is very good. I really like dry Frosted Flakes. But like, I don't know, like dry Raisin Bran, that's not good. Dry Honey Nut Cheerios, that's good. But dry like Fruity Pebbles, like, do you really, that just seems like a weird texture. It just depends on the cereal. Also on Street Fighter 6, I'm super excited for Street Fighter 6. It looks real dope, but I'm kind of a Street Fighter fanboy. I really like Street Fighter 5 a lot, so I'm like really excited for Street Fighter 6. Speaking of like phishing and information, someone literally stole, like I've been DMing with chess.com because someone stole my chess.com account. Just straight up stole it. I don't know how they figured out my password, but they took the account, changed the name, changed the password. And I have a subscription on the account, so I like pay chess.com money. So they have my, I don't think they have my like credit card number, but they have an account that I'm paying for. So if I don't get the account back, I'm gonna have to call my bank and tell them to fucking cancel the subscription because I can't go on the site to cancel it. But I mean, you know, as time, I used to be very like flippant and nonchalant about like account security, but as time goes on, I realize like it's very serious. You know, losing your chess account is not the worst thing that could happen in the world, but you know, first is your chess account, next thing it's your bank account, you know. So I've been trying to like, you know, enable two-factor authentication as necessary, as available. Safety is being so irrelevant, no one will look you up because no one cares. Yeah, I mean, that works to an extent, but you know, all it takes is someone to have an opportunity to get a credit card number. Like you don't have to be someone that someone cares about for someone to take your money. Have I had an Amazon package stolen? Yes. But as you know, Amazon has, I mean, we can say what we want about Bezos and Amazon, but Amazon has like amazing customer service, and they like replace the package with no fuss, really. Yeah. I had like this weird thing where I like at my last apartment, I had a package and it was something fairly expensive, and they dropped the package off at my door. And this is, I mean, it kind of sucks when you live in an apartment because there's no, unless like the front office of the apartment complex will accept packages for people, which is rare. They just kind of drop it off in front of your door and you just have to hope no one takes it. But they dropped it off and I was there when they dropped it off, and they like knocked on the door, but you know how they do, they knock on the door and they leave. And I was like in the middle of something, so I was like, you know, I'll get it in a few minutes. And I went out there and it wasn't there. I was like, what the fuck? And then like an hour later, my neighbor across from me knocks on my door, and it's like this older lady, and she says, and she brings me the package, and she said, oh, I grabbed your package for you so no one would take it. And I was like, what? I literally, it was there for like 5 minutes. What the hell? I don't know what the hell was going on with that. I mean, maybe she thought that it was there for longer than it was, but don't do that. That's weird. And then I was like, maybe she stole it, but then had a change of heart. I don't know. Some weirdo at my school hacked the entire grade school accounts, and we all had to use those crazy 15-letter passwords. It was so annoying. Yeah, I used to have a job where we worked on computers, and we had to change our password, but we literally had to change it like every 2 weeks. They kept making us change our password for security purposes, and it's like, man, I can't remember all these fucking passwords. So it literally, obviously, I think what most people did is just blah, 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 and then blah, 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 1, blah, 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 2, blah, 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 3. Are you excited for Overwatch 2 to finally actually come out? I am excited. I'm very, very excited. I'm a huge fan of Overwatch, even though the game can be frustrating sometimes, and it has like one of the worst communities of all time. But the game itself is very fun. And Overwatch 2 looks to be an improvement. So I'm very excited. Who steals a chess account? That's like stealing a yogurt out of the work fridge. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even like a high rated account. I'm a pretty average chess player. The only thing I can see is it's a premium account. So maybe someone just wanted a free premium account, or maybe they want to sell the account or something. I don't know. Or maybe there's a way to hack into someone's credit card through their premium account on a website. I don't think that's possible, but who knows? If you're gonna do it, leave a note. Yeah. I just think just don't do that. Unless you've had some kind of prior arrangement. I had a neighbor who'd come banging on the door whenever I had a package to make sure I took it in before it got taken. I mean, did you appreciate that? I mean, maybe that I would like that more than them just taking it. I'm doing that password tactic right now. Yeah. I've been in the process of updating all my passwords because, like I was saying before, pretty much all my old passwords have been involved in these massive like data leaks that have happened with big companies. But what's probably going to happen is there's just going to be more leaks. I mean, maybe that's how someone got into my chess, past my chess account. But yeah, that is a weird thing to steal. But I mean, people, I think people just do it. You know, they steal everything. I lived in a neighborhood where things weren't getting stolen, so it was a little annoying sometimes, but I appreciated that he was trying to help. Yeah. Oh, I saw the message, Rebecca. I forgot to comment, but yeah, I definitely will be needing challenges. I mean, if you get Street Fighter 6, that'd probably be the main game that I play. I usually try out most fighting games for a little while, but only some of them do I really stick with. The ones that I've stuck with the most have been Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 7, although I haven't played Tekken 7 in a while, but when I was playing it, I played it like non-stop. Some dude stole my friend's Insta and she had like 20 followers. Yeah, well, a lot of times people steal social media accounts for advertising purposes. I mean, that doesn't seem like it's profitable, but I don't know. Or, you know, like to, you know, spam like porn links to people and stuff. Like how on Facebook people make like fake copycat accounts of your family members and then like message you links and stuff. It's like, is anyone making money from this? But I think it's, you know, those kinds of things are probably the scams that take advantage of just older people or people who are less tech savvy, kind of like those phone scams. I mean, I almost got scammed because someone hacked my grandmother's Facebook account. And usually you can automatically tell when someone's been hacked because, you know, they don't sound like themselves or they start sending you links and stuff. But it's my grandma, like, she doesn't really know how to use the internet that well. So the fact that it sounded sketchy and weird was not obvious at first because that's kind of how she is on the internet already, because she doesn't really know how to use it. But once they started sending me like weird links and stuff, I was like, oh, that's not grandma. She doesn't know what any of the stuff is. Yeah, they definitely spoof phone numbers. I had a guy call me cussing at me one time because I kept calling him, or according to him, I kept calling him, but I wasn't calling him. Some fucking robocaller just was spoofing my number and calling people. And I've been starting to get more robocalls recently. I used to get them I used to get them like all the time, multiple times a day, and then it kind of stopped for a while, but it seems like it started back. Like I had like 2 calls earlier this morning. And now I'm getting a lot of like spam texts, which is somehow more annoying. Like I've been getting a lot of spam texts lately. So, wait, what's today? My next video, I feel like I haven't had a video in a while, but my next video should come out next week. I won't reveal what it's about. I kind of like to not spoil it, but keep an eye out for that. Click the notification bell. I don't know if anyone saw my Twitter, but I was working on a recent video, and so the first thing, I mean, after I come up with the idea of the video, I like write a script. Most, like 99% of the time I write a script, and I literally wrote maybe like 80% of the script, which was like, you know, 10 plus pages. And then I just got to a point where it's like, I don't even really like this. I don't think this is good. So I had to set it aside. Maybe I'll like work on it again later, but I decided to set it aside and just start a whole new video. So I kind of got really behind schedule. But I should have a video out next week. Does Street Fighter still have Akuma? Akuma is in Street Fighter 5, yes. We don't know yet if he will be in Street Fighter 6. But I think Akuma is always going to be there because he's a fan favorite character. He's been in pretty much every Street Fighter game. I do think that they want to introduce a lot of new characters, but there's some staples that are probably always going to be there, like Ryu, Chun-Li, Ken probably, and then probably Akuma. I would say Guile, but Guile wasn't in Street Fighter 3. The phone companies should have ping back to the actual phone holder. And if it doesn't ping correctly or it can't, then call doesn't go through. They can fix it, but their cell towers make money. I mean, I think a lot of these problems are fixable. Well, it used to be like back in the day, it used to be like legitimate, legal, annoying but legal telemarketing, and you literally could call a number and tell them to take your number off of the list. There was like a sort of national registry of phone numbers, and you could have your number taken off of the list. But nowadays it's just spam, a lot of which I don't think is legal. Like, I don't think it's legal to spoof other people's phone numbers, but it's probably hard to enforce, or at least maybe not worth the resources to enforce. opinion on what's going on with Vince in WWE right now. So the only reason, I guess, for people that don't know, Vince McMahon is recently involved in some kind of scandal where I think they said he paid someone like $3 million of hush money because he had an affair or something like that. Is that right? And now they're investigating him, and they said that he recently stepped down as CEO, but they also said there might be a temporary stepping down, and he's still like running creative at WWE. The only reason any of this is interesting to me is because of the fact that Vince McMahon, this might make Vince McMahon go away. And I think if Vince McMahon goes away, WWE will be better because, I mean, you know, Vince is obviously a very good businessman. He's managed to make this incredibly successful business, so I can't really hate on that. But as far as a sort of creative, artistic entertainment perspective, WWE is very, it's like let's say it's like really good about 5% of the time. It's like okay, it's like pretty good about 20% of the time, and it's mediocre like 65% of the time. And then it's just like bizarre and awful whatever the rest is, like 5%. And I think that those ratios might change as Vince McMahon leaves, because Vince McMahon is in charge of pretty much everything that happens. Nothing happens on the show without his say so. And it's just one of those things where he's like far more concerned with making money than making a good show, which, you know, is his prerogative. He's a businessman, and he runs a public company and has shareholders and stuff. So, you know, that's how it goes. So that's the only reason that this is, I don't really give a shit about like the scandal, you know, and the affair and all that shit. All I care about, because I really like wrestling, and the thing about WWE is when it is good, it's really, really good, and that hope that it might be good is kind of what keeps me and most people watching. Also, going to live WWE shows is really fun. I've done it a bunch of times. And obviously there's other pro wrestling besides WWE. But, you know, WWE, I think, does certain things better than other companies, but it doesn't do everything better. Anyway, I would like WWE to be better, and I think it would be better if Vince McMahon went away. So that's the only reason that that's interesting to me. In all honesty, I don't buy new games anymore. I wait till definitive editions are on sale. I'm also poor, so that helps with watching how much I spend. I main Cammy, Jury, and Poison. What was your main? I main Sakura in Street Fighter 5. I don't really, I mean, the only thing that would make me buy a new game is if I'm just specifically very, very excited about it. Or if it's like a major fighting game, I'll probably try it. I don't really buy like games in general. I'm completely out the loop when it comes to like video games. But like, for example, well, Overwatch 2 is going to be free, which is cool. But even if it wasn't, I would have bought it because I'm like I really like Overwatch. Certain games, like certain series, like I will always buy every Zelda game. I love Zelda, so I will always buy every Zelda game. Stuff like that. But outside of that, it's mainly just fighting games and just random other competitive games that I like. But yeah, I mean Sakura in Street Fighter 5. I kind of messed around with Abel in Street Fighter 4, although I didn't play that as much. Yeah, do not call registry. that came about in the 2000s. That sounds about right. I used to work at a telemarketing job. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, I mean, hopefully people who are being thoughtful understand that the person who is calling you is not the bad guy. If it's, you know, if it's a legitimate telemarketing job. Obviously, some shit is like actually scams. And the people who run the scams are actually like pretty shitty. But I didn't work specifically telemarketing, but I have worked in call centers before that called people and asked them to do surveys and stuff, which is slightly less annoying than trying to sell them something, but it's still annoying. And in fact, one of the call center jobs I had was I worked a call center for the YMCA, and we did surveys and stuff, but we also did try to get people to sign up for YMCA programs and shit, which is basically trying to sell them something, which is cringe. And I kind of feel bad that I did that. Like, I don't think it's necessarily like morally bad, it's just annoying. And, you know, most people already got enough shit to deal with in their life. How long have you had your dreads for? Well, the way that I answer that question is I haven't cut my hair in about 12 years. They weren't always dreads for that entire 12 years, but at some point they became dreads. And it's been about 12 years, maybe 13 years. I've kind of lost count, but I think about 12 years. Because that would have been what? 2010? Yeah, that sounds about right. Once I trolled an auto warranty whatever by saying I had an 1897 Toyota Corolla. Well, a lot of times those auto warranty things are scams. So like the auto warranty stuff, and then there's one that used to go around about like the FBI, like, or not the FBI, but the IRS. Like there's a mistake on your tax return or something, and you must call the IRS immediately. But a lot of those are scams, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the scam baiters. A lot of those are like large content creators who just are scam baiters and who like fuck with scammers. Like Kit Boga is maybe the most popular one, but definitely one of the most popular ones. You've cut twice in the past 12 years. Yeah, I haven't. One of the reasons that I have dreadlocks is because I don't have to get haircuts. A, I save money, and B, honestly, like my hair is completely naturally freeform, so I don't do anything to it. Which you can probably tell, they're not very neat. They're kind of dirty, but they still look cool, so works for me. But there's like zero maintenance, which I think some people find surprising, because I mean sometimes other people have to like use products and all kinds of stuff to keep their hair like matted and things like that, but my hair just does it by itself. Personally, I think you should join First Forces, Savvy Sabs, Jimmy Dore, etc. Hardlens Media. Build a new news empire, divvy up stories and work. Give a one spot for everyone to get their news. The only of those that I've even heard of is Jimmy Dore. And Jimmy Dore is a lot. It's a bit much. But it seems like at least Jimmy Dore seems like he's doing fine. It doesn't seem like he needs to join forces with anyone. My grandma used to work for the IRS, and anytime she got a scam call about it, she would be like, I worked there for 50 years and I never heard about it. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's to the point where I pretty much don't answer my phone if it's a number I don't recognize. I want to buy a phone that can't make or receive calls. I mean, that's probably not a good idea, but that would be perfect, because I don't like talking on the phone. And very rarely have I been in a position where I needed to talk on the phone. Although I guess there are more than zero situations where you need to talk on the phone. But it's a very small number of situations. It's like, just text me. Don't call me. I hate when people call me. And most of the calls I get are fucking spammers and telemarketers and robocalls anyway. So it's like, can I just disable the phone? Like, let me keep the text. I need to call the company and see if they can set that up for me. Isn't that an iPod? But you can't text on an iPod. Although I guess you could still use, do they still make iPod Touch? Is that still a thing that they make? Because that might be perfect, because you can still use like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and all kinds of shit like that. Because honestly, I use Facebook, this might be just a personal thing, but I use Facebook Messenger more than text. That's mainly because I'm always at my computer, so it's just easier for me to message people on Facebook. But not everyone I know is on Facebook. But you know, I can Instagram DM people, I can Twitter DM people. That was a great idea, the iPod Touch. It was just like a phone without the phone part. Everyone tells me I have good hair too. I don't really do anything to it. I just kind of wash it with water. And to be honest, I feel like when you start using all these crazy shampoos and conditioners, the products are just messing it up. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know anything about hair care. I mean, I should probably do more than nothing to my hair, but it's worked out so far. I mean, I would assume that some people have better hair than others, you know, genetics and all that. But it just kind of depends on what is meant by good hair. Is like hair that is amenable to the current fashions, or hair that can withstand a lot of punishment, you know, or just hair that's just like naturally a certain way or a certain texture. But I mean, you know, some people can't comb their hair without hairs falling out and things like that. You know, some people have very brittle, fragile hair. I've always wondered when, if ever I would cut off these dreadlocks. I don't really feel like I will. The problem is, like, if I could cut them off temporarily and then put them back, I probably would every now and then just to mix it up. But this is such a lot of time and effort put into this. The only thing I can think of that would make me cut it is if it just starts looking stupid. Like, if I already have a pretty high hairline. I don't think it's gonna like get higher. I mean, maybe it will, I'm not sure, but you know, if my hairline starts to get like ridiculous, then yeah, I'll do that. But you know, balding is not really a big issue in my family, so I don't think I have the genes for like balding. I'm graying a little bit, but I think that if there's a lot of gray in it, it's gonna look fucking cool. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But again, I don't even know how much I will gray, because it's kind of in my family. If it does, in my family, the graying usually comes a lot later, so we'll see. Do you think we will settle on Mars? Probably, at some point. I don't know if that will happen in our lifetime. It's possible, though. I think over the next decades, we'll definitely learn a lot more about Mars. My hair used to grow really fast, and then it kind of stopped growing fast. I think it's still growing, but it's growing very, very slow now. Like, my hair is like super long. I don't know if people who, if you only see me on YouTube, like if you haven't seen any of my like Instagram photos or anything like that, you may not know exactly how long my hair is, but it's like super long. It goes pretty much down to the bottom of my back. But it's kind of been stuck there for several years now. Like, it grew pretty rapidly, and then now it kind of slowed down, if not stopped. I think maybe it's growing, but it's growing like up here, and then eventually the gravity will pull it back down. But yeah, it's very, very long. I don't know if I can express how long it is with this angle. It like pretty much goes all the way down my back, probably all the way down to my butt. But yeah, I have a lot of hair. In fact, one might say that I have too much hair. It's heavy, it's annoying, it gets in the way all the time, but it's cool. I might go and like get the top kind of retwisted a little bit I'm kind of afraid to get it. I'm afraid to get it retwisted because it might. I don't want it to look neat. I don't want it to look. I like the natural look a lot, and I don't want it to look done up. But maybe there's a talented hair artist that can, you know, retain the natural look while still making it look a little bit better. I do probably need to get these colors retouched. Like they're still, I mean, you can still see them, but they used to be a lot brighter. So maybe I'll get them like redone. I gotta see, like a friend of mine did this color on me for free. I gotta see if they'll do it for free again. I'll probably pay them. But if they'll do it for free, then we can hook it up. But if they request payment this time, then I'll probably pay them. But shit, even something like this, you know, it's fucking expensive. That's one of the reasons why I have this hair. Is like getting your hair done is fucking expensive. Like, even, I mean, when I was a kid, getting a simple hair, you could get like a simple haircut for like 10 to 15 bucks or something. But for something like dreads and stuff, they want like upwards of $100 sometimes. And not even now, like getting a haircut probably is $20 to $30 just for like a simple low cut and an edge up. I don't know if it's different for, you know, white people, but if you go to like the black barber, you can get a pretty simple haircut for, I think like 20, 30 bucks now, but not dreads and shit. And probably for people with, you know, long hair, it's probably way more expensive. And if you're like doing all kind of stuff like putting relaxers and all kinds of shit in your hair, and that's probably gets more expensive. Thoughts on shampoos and conditioners for black people? Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with that because I don't. Well, that's not super true. I mean, when I buy shampoos and stuff, I try to find one that seems like it's made for the type of hair that I have. But I don't really know. I haven't really done any experiments to see what works better than others. But it seems like different types of products would work differently on different textures and types of hair. That makes sense to me, but I don't know for sure. And even if it is true, I couldn't tell you like which one's better than the other. I just try to make the best decision I can at the time. And so far I've avoided any major disasters. But my body and my skin and my hair is usually pretty agreeable. I don't, some people say stuff like, oh, I can't use that product, it fucks up my hair, or it dries me out, or it makes my skin break out. I've never experienced that with anything. Well, that's not true actually. With I can't use toner because toner dries my skin out a lot. But that makes sense because it's usually like straight fucking alcohol. But even the non-alcohol toner does the same thing, so I don't know. Mars sucks. We on Earth now. It's nicer. We have water and atmosphere and life. Well, yeah, I mean, the goal is to recreate a livable situation on Mars. not to just go live there and not have water. Did I go to Bama? I did go to the University of Alabama. I changed my major several times, but I ended up as an English major, and I did not graduate. But I was there for several years, and I guess it was fine. Although I have a bunch of student loans now, which kind of sucks. Although I'm pretty close. This is how old I am. I'm fairly close, or not close, but I'm getting close to like the 25-year limit to where your student loans are forgiven. Which, if you don't know, it's something like after, if you pay student loans for 25 years, and if it's not fully paid off, they will forgive it. I believe that's how it works. And I'm like pretty close to it. It's been like, how many years has it been? It's been 19 years since I started college. So it's probably, I wonder if it starts after you finish, after you like stop going to college. I don't know. But I'm getting pretty close to the thing, so I'm basically paying. Well, recently there's been because of the coronavirus stuff, they've halted student loan payments, or they've halted student loan interest, and they've halted student loan payments. So I haven't been paying shit on student loans. And then before that, I had an income-based repayment plan, and my income was so low that my monthly payments were zero. So I've either paid a very, very small amount on student loans or nothing on student loans. So I pretty much have no intention of paying them that money. Yeah, I've tried Witch Hazel toner. It does the same thing. I don't know. My skin doesn't like toner for some reason. Thoughts on Trump running in 2024? I hope not. And if he does run, I hope he loses. I would say it doesn't seem like he could win again, but almost every time I've tried to predict something about Trump, I've been wrong. The man defies all logic. Got nearly 500K in student loans. That's rough. Did you go to medical school or something? I've got a decent amount. I think I'm up like, I think I got like 75K or something. And pretty much half of that is just interest, but what are you gonna do? Mike Tyson's brother, Neil deGrasse Tyson. It starts when you start paying. Okay. So that means I probably have like 8 years left or something like that. The money they forgive is counted as income that year. Well, that's gonna suck. But it's better than paying all the fucking student loans. Do you think the term woke has been co-opted by right-wing or other types as a way to disparage those with differing views as opposed to its original meaning? Well, definitely the term has been co-opted by right-wing people. I mean, woke, I think, is used more as in a disparaging way than a positive way these days. But you know, there's a lot of ways you can look at it. I mean, I do think that the right wing, and not even just right wing people, but just, you know, a lot of reactionary type of people, just kind of are naturally antagonistic to people who are involved in social justice causes and movements, and people who, you know, want to point out things like white supremacy and stuff like that. They don't like that sort of thing, and that part is that's the negativity. That's the negative part of the whole thing, and obviously I don't like that, because I think that social justice is important. I think there's a lot of problems that need to be addressed, and the people that are kind of opposing that progress are a problem. But then there's also the opposition to, you know, things like the quote unquote cancel culture, or this sort of like high and mighty moral righteousness that you see on social media sometimes, or these people that kind of have these like impossible standards for behavior and things like that. And, you know, if you slip up once, you're canceled for life, or if you said something 10 years ago that was a little problematic, you're canceled today, things like that. And on that end of the spectrum, I kind of agree with it. I think there are people who are a little too woke and just need to like calm the fuck down. So there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I think the taxes on my student loan forgiveness is going to break me if something doesn't change in the way educators are paid. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely be a problem. But it's better. I mean, it's better than student loans, because student loans affects your credit. Owing taxes, as far as I know, doesn't affect your credit. And the IRS is like, as far as I know, unless you like owe them like hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't think they're like that worried about it. You can just set up a payment plan and pay them like $30 a month or something, and then they won't bother you. But it probably just depends on how much you owe them. But I think, unfortunately, I mean, credit is a ridiculous system that we have, but I think that's like the biggest thing, is getting the student loans off your credit. Although the way credit works, it could end up being a bad thing. I guess I'll have to see, because sometimes having more credit accounts open is good, as long as none of those accounts are in default. But if your student loans are in default, then getting them off of your credit is a good thing. What's up, Skangman? What's up, Silver Reflex? Any thoughts on how society exposure to misinformation as we move away from cable television into social media conspiracies, deepfake era? Well, I don't know if misinformation is, well, I mean, misinformation is more rampant, but there's always been misinformation. Propaganda and conspiracies and shit have always existed, but it's just like more widespread now because of social media. And honestly, I don't really know what we do about that, because you can put good information out there, but you know, people are very impressionable, and if the right charismatic person or the right publication publishes something, it's easy for people to believe it. And I'm not just talking about, you know, I think we try to like pigeonhole this into just like, oh, these dumb, you know, right-wing conspiracy nuts that'll believe anything they read. You know, it's not just that, you know. Sometimes like very reputable organizations can print something that's misleading and everyone just believes it and no one questions it. From what I've read, the term woke actually originated among black people and started to be used over time by non-black people, where non-black people over time started using more broad. Yeah, I mean, that's how everything is. almost every fucking slang and meme and fashion and almost everything is originated by non-white people, and then white people take it and overuse it, and it becomes like mainstream, and the meaning is changed. You're 4 years out from public service loan forgiveness. Interesting. Yeah, I actually did not know that it would be treated as income, so that's interesting. But you know, it seems like it's still better than owing the loans, but I'd have to look into that. I don't know for sure. It's human nature to completely 100% buy into some things while being completely unconscious of how untrue, illogical, and conclusive it might actually be. Yeah, I agree. I mean, unfortunately, human beings are not. We're very impressionable. We all are, and we have, you know, a list of cognitive biases that could fill a book. We all want to confirm things that we already believe. If we want something to be true, we are more likely to believe it is true. There's so many ways, and that's how politicians and propagandists and demagogues, that's how they succeed at what they do, is because they take advantage of these very obvious biases in our fucking primate brains. This beat slaps. I agree. And yes, Erica, my brother makes or has made all the music that I use on the stream. I want to shout him out, but he doesn't really operate on the internet, or he doesn't like his music business is kind of like a side thing. Like he works in video production. And I don't know if he like accepts clients or what he does with his music, because he doesn't have like a website, or he doesn't use his social media to promote it. So I think he mostly works with like local people. I don't think he works on the internet. He should work on the internet, but because he's like talented enough to, you know, make music and make money from it. But another thing I have to figure out about the student loan thing is, does it automatically kick in, or do you have to like claim it? Do you have to like call the IRS and be like, hey, it's been 25 years, can I claim this shit? That's crazy to think about, though. When I said it's been like 19 years. Well, I graduated high school in 2003, which is 19 years ago. That's a lot of years. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. How do I... Are you saying who do I think will run after Biden, assuming he serves 2 terms? I have no clue. No clue. Maybe Kamala will run again. I think Tulsi Gabbard's gonna run again. I follow Tulsi Gabbard on Instagram and Facebook, and she's wild, but she seems like she's like trying to build up a brand as this kind of weird centrist Democrat. But I don't know, man. She's like, she says things. She says many things that I agree with. I'm in this weird spot where the sort of mainstream left I kind of mostly agree with, but there's like certain random things that like tick me off about the left. And so when there is another sort of roughly left-wing person who points out those same things, it kind of like draws me to them. But then I see like, oh, outside of that, they're completely cringe. So it's kind of a weird position to be in. That's kind of how Tulsi Gabbard is. But I don't know. If you follow her on Instagram, it really seems like she's trying to build a brand. So this might be a random prediction, but don't be surprised if you see Tulsi Gabbard running for president in the future. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't think AOC is going to run. A lot of people want AOC to run, but it doesn't seem like something she wants to do. But maybe in the next, for how many years? 6 years? Maybe she'll discover something. Trying to say who else it could even be. I wouldn't be surprised if Kamala ran though. Yeah, Biden is old. Oh, you're 03 as well? Dope. Oh, all right, Trash. Thanks for checking out the stream. Any good YouTube stuff I've seen recently to shout out? I don't know if I've watched anything that is like of interest to a general audience. Most of the stuff I watch is very niche to my interests. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at my subscriptions page to see if there's anything, because everything I watch is like very niche, like video games I play and interests that things that I'm interested in, like wrestling and D&D and chess. Speaking of, like, Tulsi Gabbard's been doing a bunch of like Fox News appearances. Like, she just showed up on my thing. She was on Sean Hannity. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of anything to suggest on YouTube because everything I watch is just niche. In one debate I've seen Tulsi in, she has quite a punchline to arguing with her opponents and very creatively destroys her opponents. Not saying I agree with her positions one way or another. I mean, she's good at talking. I mean, she's a politician. I mean, I originally became interested in her because she was one of the only Democrats that continued to support Bernie Sanders even after that it was clear that Hillary was going to win the nomination. Like, she did not like Hillary at all. So that originally kind of made me interested in her. But then over time, it's like, oh, Tulsi, you're kind of weird. Also, Tulsi Gabbard is really cute to me, and I think that's also why I was interested. Bernie's also really old, so I don't know if he's gonna run again. I wonder if Joe Biden even wants to be the president again. Like, I almost feel like Joe Biden just really wanted to be the president, and he got to do it. So will he do it again? I don't know. The thing about being the president that I don't get is, I mean, it's a very prestigious job. You have a ton of power, but what makes people like want to do it? Even after they've done it and they want to do it again. What makes them, is it really that cool? It seems very stressful. You're constantly attacked, constantly treated like shit. I mean, I understand there's a lot of perks, there's a lot of power, but it's weird to me that almost every president is like, yeah, I think I'll do that for another 4 years. I've seen people call Tulsi a conservative in denial. I mean, maybe. I don't think she's a conservative, but she's definitely very, very centrist. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if you like I said, I follow her on Instagram. I've seen a lot of her stuff. I think she, like she's been on Fox News a bunch of times, and you know how right-wing people like to congratulate when left-wing or other people, take on their own side. They really like that. So I think she's been embracing that. But her views are generally not right-wing. D&D, can I recommend it? Can I recommend any D&D channels? I can do that for sure. So obviously there's Critical Role. You probably know about that, but I mean, it's great. Watch Dimension 20 if you haven't watched it. In order to fully experience Dimension 20, you have to buy Dropout. You have to pay for a Dropout subscription. That's the only way you can watch like all of Dimension 20. But I think there's the full seasons of like the first couple of seasons of Dimension 20 are on YouTube. It's great. Dimension 20, I think, is the best D&D show on the internet. And then there's like content about D&D, like Jenny D. I've recently been watching a lot of her stuff. And her videos are kind of like just advice for DMs. There's XP to level 3, which is mostly it's like comedy about D&D. Very good. Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're into. Like, if you're looking for shows of people playing D&D, there's a lot of things. If you're looking for people talking about D&D, giving advice about D&D, that's another thing. Or people doing sketches about D&D, comedy. What are your thoughts on how the media has gaslighted us in inflation, blaming checks and rising wages rather than price gouging? Greed. Do you have any other issues in mind of media gaslighting? Well, the problem is like most media companies are owned by big corporations, so there's a limit to how much that they probably will ever say as far as that goes, which is unfortunate. And I think that's why a lot of people have turned to more independent media, for better or for worse. So I'm sure there's many examples of that sort of thing. FD Signifier, T Noir, Khadijah on YouTube. Yeah, those are some good black creators that you can watch. And yeah, those people are all good. Although I don't watch religiously. I just kind of watch here and there. I have not watched a lot of like more political stuff lately. I've just been watching like fucking stuff about video games and stuff. I get into ruts where I just don't feel like watching political videos, which probably sounds weird because I make a lot of political videos. But I do recommend all those people. Khadijah's channel, I think it's just Khadijah and Bo. Khadijah and then MBOWE. Yeah. Do you listen to Chapo Trap House? Not really. I've listened to it in bits and pieces before. But it doesn't really seem like my jam. But I really can't fairly criticize it because I haven't listened to it that much. But from what I have listened to, it doesn't really seem like my jam. It just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like obnoxious, sort of high and mighty left-wing people that are trying to congratulate themselves about how much smarter they are than liberals and right-wing people. I don't know. But maybe that's not a fair judgment of it. Mostly like lore and info stuff. I don't know. I actually don't know any good D&D lore channels, because that would be interesting. As far as like info about the game, you know, I think you can get some of that from Ginny D. Dungeon dudes are pretty cool for that sort of thing. But as far like as the lore of the Dungeons and Dragons universe, I actually don't know any channels about that. Tulsi's on the level of Jimmy Dore. Yeah. I think Jimmy Dore is like more brazenly conspiratorial though. But Tulsi definitely has that sort of like, you know, I criticize the left at any chance I get type of thing. Although I did read, I was on Instagram. Like I said, I follow her on Instagram. And literally there was a notice under the post that Instagram itself had posted saying this contains inaccurate information. It was like, damn, Tulsi, that's not a good look when you got the Instagram having to fucking fact check you. Yeah, I'm all her posts are just like her. Is she like writing a book or something? She's been on like a circuit of like appearing on shows, mostly Fox. Like, that's why I said she might run for president. She's clearly building her brand for something. Like, she's not running for Congress, is she? I don't know. Yeah, FD Signifier is the homie. He's actually admire, he puts a lot of work into his channel, and I'm glad that it's paid off for him, because I actually I met him before his channel blew up, and he was like just as diligent and hardworking back then. And you know, he had all these great ideas, and he's very like assertive. He reaches out to people, he interviews people and stuff. Like, I don't need, like, for my stuff, I don't be wanting to talk to people. I'm not trying to like fucking interview people and stuff, but he likes interviewing people and, like, you know, getting ideas from other folks, which I think is dope. So I think it's cool that his channel is doing well, because he's put in the work. He might have, I was about to say, he probably has more subscribers than me now, which he does. Which is fair, because he puts more work into his videos than I do. Is the on-screen chat slow? Yeah, it's moving pretty slow. There's not that many people here. To be fair, like, if I stream more consistently, I think more people would show up and join the stream every time. But I stream so sporadically, it's just random who even knows that I'm streaming. Like, no one really expects me to stream, so it's usually not that many people there, unless there's something like really interesting to talk about. Usually these like very chill AMA streams they're very like chill. Usually there's more people when there's an actual topic being discussed. Favorite movie this year? Favorite upcoming movie? I don't really watch a lot of movies. The only movies that I watch are the Marvel movies. And the last one I watched was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And I thought it was good, so that's probably my favorite movie this year. And I am looking forward to the new Thor movie, so maybe that's my favorite upcoming movie. Oh yeah, on the screen, the chat is scrolling from the top, which I don't know. I can change that. Like, do you think it would be better if it scrolled from the bottom? I don't know which one is better. I think it's probably more normal for chat to scroll from the bottom, but I don't know. Tulsi might try to be Trump VP. That would be interesting. I think Tulsi is anti-Trump, but who knows what the fuck she'll say these days. AOC will run for president next decade. I don't know. I don't really see it. And if she did win, I'd win. Or if she did run, I don't think she would win. I wonder if like what the next iteration of the Democratic nominee is going to be, and how much further left we can get them to be, because we still have neoliberal center-left Democrat as the president, but it's probably still the most left-wing president we've ever had. So maybe we can continue to move this thing left. Katie Porter. Again, I don't know if she wants to be president, but I really doubt she would win. But I think we need to change our view of what is electable, Like you have to be like likable. People you have to be like people want their president to seem like someone that they could be friends with. But it's like, is that really necessary? Just vote for someone to get the job done. We're getting closer to when candidates are supposed to make announcements, like in 2007, 2011. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start seeing this. That's why I'm saying watch Tulsi. I know Obama wasn't that far left, but it was Biden more so. I would say 100% Biden is further left than Obama. And a lot of that is just because Biden was president later than Obama. So he had to sort of update his platform, Like if Obama like if Biden was president in 2008, he probably wouldn't, be so pro LGBTQ because he didn't need to be. But now he has to be, so he is. At least in words. I'm not sure exactly if he's advanced any policy that is super good for LGBTQ, but I don't know, I have to research it. But it's stuff like that. So a lot of it is just like him being further left, him, and him saying things like considering student loan forgiveness, although seems to be giving us the runaround on that. I don't think that's something he probably would have even brought up in 2008. But you know, ultimately, it's still better. You know, like I don't think you can win as a Democrat right now without certain check boxes, which is probably good. You have to think about things like you have to like increasing the minimum wage, being aware of social justice, mentioning, acknowledging that things like racism exist, acknowledging LGBTQ. I think Biden was the first person ever to acknowledge the existence of trans people in a speech or something like that. So stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have come to hate the term electable. But I'm probably gonna end the stream here in about 10 minutes. It's been a couple hours. Just wanted to come and chill, say what's up to everyone for a little while. Yeah, I don't know if AOC wants to be president, and honestly, I don't know if I want her to be president. It's not that I like disagree with her, but like I probably agree with her positions a lot more than a lot of people that could run for president. But it's just like she already gets so much shit at all times, and it's like I think it might break her. like she seems to be a very like tough person, and she's very easy. She's very good at the fact that she seems to still have maintained her composure after all this time, even despite all the shit that she gets, is impressive. But man, if she was the president, even if she just ran for president, man, they would go after her relentlessly. It would probably be scary to watch how crazy they would get. Like if you think about what they did to Obama, imagine a fucking woman of color trying to be the president. They would lose their fucking mind. Jesse Ventura said he'd run for office if people get him on ballot. I don't know that much about Jesse Ventura's like politics. A bunch of people lost it when it was announced a black woman would be on the Supreme Court. Yeah, it's crazy how a lot of right-wing people just like barely hide their bigotry now. And listen, I'm not the type of person that's gonna say like all conservatives are racist or whatever, but there's definitely a segment of people that are just, it's like they don't even hide it anymore. And honestly, I think a lot of Republican politicians, they're so very clearly dog whistling to the segment of their constituents that are just like obviously racist. And I think that's part of the reason why they even go do the shit that they do. They probably don't personally care that much, but they know that they have racist constituents. So it's like, oh well, we're gonna be real evil to this black lady because I know that we know that the Republican voters will like that. Like I couldn't even watch the confirmation hearings because it was cringe. It was hard to watch. Like I couldn't even, I had to turn it off. I prefer the open bigots on right versus the closeted ones in left who pretend to be your friend, because with the right, you know where they stand. Yeah, well, yeah. I feel like, yeah. On the left, I think a lot of times though, it's like not even conscious. It's like a result of hubris almost. Trump's initial presidency was him calling Mexican migrants rapists and Muslim terrorists. That's what enamored the right. Yeah. And that's sad. You know, that's a sad state of affairs when you know, I think a lot of people already knew that America had these people, you know, hiding in the cracks, but it's very sad to see it so publicly proven. All right, CM, thanks for just checking out the stream. I'm probably going to end it here soon as well. Trump was just in the right place at the right time. Tea Party, Rush, Jeff Sessions, Stephen Miller, and Bannon primed the base with anti-immigrant hostility. I mean, I did a whole video about, it's called How the Republicans Created Trump. And they definitely, just the Republican Party and the right-wing propaganda machine definitely molded reality, basically. They definitely created a universe and a atmosphere where someone like Trump could thrive. They rolled out the red carpet for someone like Trump. And I don't necessarily think they did it on purpose. I think it's just what happened. And then they had to roll with it because it was the only way for them to like keep power. And that's why, you know, that's why the Republican Party has to go, because they very clearly will destroy the world just, you know, in their search of power. They won't stop. And I think we've learned that. Like, there was a point where we were literally, I mean, Donald Trump was literally taunting North Korea on Twitter. Like, stuff like that, you know. We didn't know, you know, I mean, like, we read, there was some inside information that there's a dude, they hire someone to be in the room just to like to physically restrain Donald Trump, just in case he like tries to launch a nuke or something. Like, that's a real thing. Look it up. Like, but the Republicans, I think the Republicans understand how volatile and dangerous someone like Trump was, but they rolled with it, and they backed it 100%. They were all aboard, with very few exceptions, because that's how they kept their power. And that's very scary, and that can't be a thing where you just have no, where you're just willing to literally let the world burn while you keep your power. That can't happen. MTG is worse than Trump. I think several people are worse than Trump. I think Ted Cruz is worse than Trump, but Ted Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't get to be the president, which is a big difference. The main thing about Trump is that he's just an asshole. He's just like a bad person. Like, I mean, MTG kind of seems like an asshole too. But man, like if Ted Cruz was the president, he would probably pretend he would probably pretend to be a good person, you know? He wouldn't like, you know, talk about how disgusting Rosie O'Donnell was. That was the thing about Trump, is like, man, you're just an unpleasant dude. Even outside of your terrible politics, you're just a bad dude. That was the thing that made Trump stand out. But in terms of like actual policy and actual beliefs, yeah, people like MTG and Cruz and fucking, there's like open Nazis that are out there in office, you know, or open white nationalists, I should say. Like, it's arguable that Trump has white nationalist tendencies, but he's not like an open white nationalist. He doesn't like come out and say, hey, white people are a little better. There are people who do, you know, so there are people worse than Trump out there, but none of them got to be the president. Chelsea, thank you for the $5. Your thoughts on Asta Shakur and current leadership? I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I just don't really know the details on that. Do you mean just like general thoughts? Yeah, I mean, is like she up to something? I don't really know. His ultimate chicken and egg situation. They made a world where he could thrive, and he made a world where they thrive in their bigotry. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cycle. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know that much about Asta Shakur actually. It's worth discussing for sure. I mean, I know like the general idea that she was convicted of murder, and she's like still a fugitive, isn't she? Yeah, she's on the FBI most wanted terrorist list. The fuck? Yeah, I don't know that much about it. Yes, white nationalists, we can't say Nazi because the Nazis were gone after the war. Well, some people actually make that argument, which it's clearly a bad faith argument. But you know, there is that obviously some connotations with the word Nazi that people avoid. Because why, you know, like even, you know, people say neo-Nazis, but you know, neo-Nazis are associated with like genocide and racism. Well, I mean, obviously racism, but like sort of like genocide and things like that. And a lot of white nationalists will argue that they are not in favor of genocide. But the thing about it is the public, I mean, there's obviously been a rebranding of neo-Nazism over the years. So they're trying to be more palatable. But if you find their holes, if you go into their like behind the scenes forums and shit, find them on fucking Poll and 4chan and 8chan and shit, they're pretty wild. But their public facing things are intended to be more palatable. There should be term limits on Congress. I agree. I think there should be term limits on everything. I think there should be term limits on the Supreme Court as well. I mean, there's reasons why, there's arguments against that, but yeah, I agree there should be term limits. But yeah, I should end the stream because I do have some shit to do. Thanks everyone for checking out the stream. We could definitely have more conversations, but I'll be streaming again soon. Look out for my new videos coming out next week, probably next Friday. If you would like to have more discussions like this, consider joining my Discord community. Just go to theonejanitor.com/discord. And you'll find more people having conversations just like this. A very chill, friendly community. I'm very proud of the community, and we're still growing it. And it's not all politics. We can talk about everything that you're interested in. And I even have some special channels for the things that I'm interested in, like D&D and wrestling and stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can do that. Yeah, but I guess that's it. I hope everyone has a decent weekend. And trying to think if there's anything else that I want to say, but if I can't think of it, then it doesn't matter right now. But yeah, I hope you all have a good weekend, and I hope to see you soon. If you want to know, I just don't have a stream schedule, so the best way to know when I'm streaming is to enable notifications. So consider doing that if you like. Anyway, that's about it. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.